Congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning for winning the 2020 Bubble Stanley Cup Finals. And before we get into the Tampa Bay Lightning's history of all the different things that they did within the last year, we also need to congratulate the Dallas Stars for making it to the finals as well. You guys did an amazing job not only beating the Vegas Golden Knights, but also Colorado Avalanche, who were really good Stanley Cup potential teams as well. So congratulations to those Dallas Stars for making it to the Stanley Cup Finals. But fortunately for the Tampa Bay Lightning, they did come away with a 2-0 victory in Game 6, their first ever Stanley Cup win since 2004. But how did we get here? What did Tampa Bay do since last year to make it to this year? Well, as many of you can recall last year, Tampa Bay Lightning was not only the Atlantic Division champions, but also the Eastern Conference champions, as well as the President's Trophy champions by a long shot, having 21 points over the next best teams of the Boston Bruins and Calgary Flames. And not only that, last year, they were the only team with less than 20 losses with 16. They were the only team with over 50 wins with 62. Calgary Flames had exactly 50 last year and had a goal differential of plus 103. Calgary Flames, the second best team, had a plus 63. And unfortunately, last year there's not much to talk about their playoff performances because, like most of you remember, they got swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets, getting outscored 19-8 across the 4 games. And after that sweep, Tampa Bay Lightning had this to say on their Twitter page. "We don't have any words, and we know you don't want to hear them. We understand your anger, your frustration, your sadness, everything you're feeling. We get it. This isn't the ending we imagined, and certainly not the one we wanted. Thank you for being there the entire way." And yes, it's all good and sweet and nice just to have that apology, but an apology means nothing unless if you have action to back that up. And as a Sharks fan, I know what lip service means with very little action taken against. So what did Tampa Bay Lightning do after their apology? What actions did they take? Now, the first notable thing that they did since getting swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets, re-signed Jan Ruda to a 1-year deal. Yes, the entire year of May was just that. Now, granted, yes, that was before all the free agency signings. Yes, granted, and they were still playing playoffs. I understand that, but I just kind of want to make a joke about it. However, in June, before the free agency signings, Tampa Bay had probably 3 notable events that happened that I could probably think of. First, on June 18th of 2019, Tampa Bay Lightning re-signed Braden Coburn to a 2-year, $3.4 million contract. Now, he wasn't really utilized a whole lot. I mean, he was utilized quite a bit during the playoffs, but not every single game, but was utilized quite a bit during the season, during that, so they did make a good stretch to make it to the playoffs with him. Second, the Tampa Bay Lightning, unfortunately 2 days later, had to announce the retirement of Ryan Callahan because of lower back problems. He did have a really good first season with Tampa Bay Lightning and really had some really good years with the New York Rangers, but unfortunately those back problems got up to him for over a 13-year career. But man, that was an awesome 13-year career, and I hope Tampa Bay Lightning can do something for you, Ryan Callahan, and just make it known that you were a part of this team. And the third was a trade with the Vancouver Canucks in which Tampa Bay Lightning gave them JT Miller in exchange for Marek Manzanek and a third-round 2019 pick and a first-round conditional 2020 pick. And with that third pick, Tampa Bay Lightning selected Hugo Aldenfelt from Sweden, who had a really good World's Junior this last year with 6 games, having 2.12 goals against, 92% save percentage, having 6 wins, one of them being a shutout. And he's probably going to be a name that we're going to be seeing quite a bit in the coming years, to be honest, because he's probably going to have a really decent NHL career. And now on to July, which was filled with all sorts of free agency signings. Now, first of all, there was Cedric Verhaeghe that did sign to a 1-year contract extension, and on the exact same day, Cedric Paquette signed to a 2-year contract extension. And Paquette played in every postseason game this year and actually got the primary assist on Blake Coleman's goal that ended up putting the Tampa Bay Lightning up 2-0 in Game 6 against the Dallas Stars. And 24 days later, Tampa Bay Lightning made a definitely well worth it signing of Andrei Vasilevskiy, an 8-year, $76 million contract, and I'm sure Tampa Bay Lightning does not regret this one bit. Vasilevskiy winning the Vezina Trophy last year with 2.4 goals against, 92.5 save percentage, and 6 shutouts. This guy is only 25 years old, and I'm sure we're going to be hearing his name a lot in the next 5 to 8 years of his contract. Now, finally, to free up some cap space, Tampa Bay Lightning did trade away Ryan Callahan's contract to the Ottawa Senators, along with a 5th round 2020 pick. In exchange, the Ottawa Senators gave them a 6th round 2020 pick, and it did really free up $3.4 million worth of cap space for them this year. And this helped Tampa Bay Lightning sign Kevin Shattenkirk to a 1-year, $1.75 million contract. And he got 3 goals these postseason, and 2 of which were actually game winners in the finals. Game 2 put them up 3-0 in a 3-2 victory, and an OT winner in Game 4. In addition to signing Kevin Shattenkirk, they also signed Patrick Maroon to a 1-year cheap $900,000 contract, and Patrick Maroon just won a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues the year before. He got 2 secondary assists on that OT winner of Game 4, as well as the second goal in Game 6 this year. And are you still with me through all this? Because this was just before the season, and now we've gotten to the season, so now we're going to speed things up really quickly until we get to the playoffs. October started off with a typical, we're going back to the season fashion, getting a win here, getting a win there, getting a loss here, getting another win, loss, kind of just going back and forth between wins and losses. But once November and December rolled around, they took off. And I mean, across 40 games, only losing 8 of those games. They had a 10-game winning streak and an 11-game winning streak in that span. And their longest losing streak really all year was 1 3-game losing streak and 1 4-game losing streak. That's it. All their losses maybe twice in a row. And then they just won games. It was incredible to see them this year. And in February, Tampa Bay Lightning made some really interesting trades that actually worked out for the better in these postseason games. First, they decided to make a deal with the New Jersey Devils in which they gave them Nolan Foote along with Vancouver's first round 2020 pick in exchange for Blake Coleman, who we just kind of talked about, but we will get to at the very end. Next, they also decided to talk to the San Jose Sharks. I talked about this in a previous video when I was talking about the San Jose Sharks draft picks this year. But essentially what happened was that Tampa Bay Lightning gave the San Jose Sharks Anthony Greco and a first round 2020 pick, and Tampa Bay Lightning got Flyers' third round 2020 pick along with Barclay Goodrow. More of my thoughts in that video over there. The Tampa Bay Lightning finished off the season with a 43-21-6 record, which put them second in the Atlantic Division and second in the Eastern Conference, right behind the Boston Bruins. In the beginning of March, Steven Stamkos, their captain, underwent surgery and unfortunately had to miss the rest of the regular season, which only ended up being about 2 weeks. And we didn't get to see him until the Stanley Cup Finals. NHL announced their closures mid-March and didn't resume play until August, about 2 months ago. Tampa Bay Lightning were in the top 4 of the round robin play and finished with a 2-1 record, only losing to the Philadelphia Flyers. In the first round, because no one really knew which one was the first round or the second round or I guess the 0th round, the Tampa Bay Lightning humorously rematched against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Game 1 was the 5 overtime winner game, which was the 4th longest in NHL history. Humorously, that pushed back the Carolina Hurricanes and the Boston Bruins game to the next day. In Game 2, Tampa Bay Lightning lost, but then rallied the next 3 games to win the series 4-1 in overtime and then moved on to play the Boston Bruins. The Tampa Bay Lightning lost their first game against the Boston Bruins, but then rallied the next 4 games to win the series again 4-1 in double overtime and then move on to play the New York Islanders. And to be honest, the Islanders were a really quiet team during the playoffs and were a dark horse team. There were probably a lot of predictions that this was going to be an upset, but the Tampa Bay Lightning did get off to a 2-0 series lead, and then the Islanders won Game 3. However, the Tampa Bay Lightning did win the series in 6 games, and that last Game 6 was an overtime victory for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And at this point, Tampa Bay Lightning has played 12 overtime periods and still no Steven Stamkos. And to be honest, they don't look tired. But as they got their Eastern Conference Championship trophy, Steven Stamkos is on the ice. Guess what he did? He touched the trophy. No, Steven, how could you do that? Dumb. It's dumb. Why is this a thing? Why is touching the trophy just such a dumb superstition to have. Now on to the Stanley Cup Finals, where the Tampa Bay Lightning had to travel from Edmonton all the way to Toronto to face the Dallas Stars. Now, as mentioned before, Dallas Stars just had to play two Stanley Cup contention teams of the Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights. In that game one against the Dallas Stars, Tampa Bay Lightning struggled quite a bit. They lost their game one 4-1, and it was just more they got shots. It just couldn't get by Anton Khudobin, the goaltender of the Dallas Stars, and the Tampa Bay Lightning, they allowed 4 goals on 20 different shots, and they were quality shots, but it wasn't really looking good. And game 2 started off with a completely different story, with getting 3 goals in the first period, all within 4 minutes of each other in that middle of the period. Unfortunately, they did let off the gas a little bit in that second period and allowed a goal for the Dallas Stars to make the game 3-1 at the end of the second period in game 2. And going into the locker room, Tampa Bay Lightning really needed that mentality of, we cannot allow the Dallas Stars to get another goal, because that's going to make the game 3-2, which happened 5 minutes into the third period with Matthias Janmark scoring the goal. And thankfully for Tampa Bay Lightning fans, the game ended up as a victory for the Tampa Bay Lightning, making the series 1-1. But again, no Steven Stamkos. He has not been on the ice this entire postseason. But wait, we're at game 3. All the Lightning are in their locker room, just kind of like gladiators before the battle. And there's their captain, Steven Stamkos, emerges into game 3. And as Lightning take the ice for game 3, much like it was for game 2, got 2 early goals in the first period. And guess who got that second goal? Oh, captain, my captain, Steven Stamkos gets that second goal on his one shot of game 3. However, after just under 3 minutes of ice time, Steven Stamkos did have to leave the game with an injury, unfortunately, and that was the last we ever saw of him. He just kind of came, made his mark, got his goal, and just left. But that was a huge dominating performance by the Tampa Bay Lightning in Game 3 with a 5-2 victory, and was like, hey, our captain was here. He made his mark on these postseason games. And Game 4 actually had a little bit different of a start, with the Dallas Stars getting the early 2 goals in the first period, and it felt like Dallas Stars could tie up the series, but then of course Brayden Point has to score a goal at the end of the first period and made it this game 2-1 at the end of the first period in Game 4. And Brayden Point started off the second period of Game 4 right where he left off by getting another goal in the second period early on, making the game 2-2 and basically resetting the game. Second period ended 3-3, and regulation ended 4-4, making this game an overtime game. And what's surprising about the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I kind of mentioned this before, is that they just did not look tired. They've played how many overtime games at this point, and it's just, they did not look tired. They looked like they could go on for another 5 overtime game if they wanted to this game. And they had to kill off an early penalty in that overtime, which they did, and then it resulted in Kevin Shattenkirk getting the game-winning goal off of a pass from Victor Hedman, putting the series up 3-1 and putting the Dallas Stars in a do-or-die situation. And Game 5 had a little bit of a different feel. It felt like it was more of that chess match of no one wants to make a mistake, no one wants to give up that goal, and the officials did allow the team to make those calls by only calling 3 penalties all game. And Stars did get that early lead in the first period, and then they gave up 2 goals to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then Dallas Stars' Joe Pavelski gets the tying goal in the middle of the third period, sending the game to overtime. And of course we're going to overtime. This is the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have won every other series in overtime. Of course they're going to be winning the Stanley Cup in overtime. Well, as we all know, that first overtime just kind of came and went. And then in the second overtime, Dallas Stars were able to escape and cheat death with Corey Perry getting the game-winning goal. And on to Game 6, and yes, everyone knows how Game 6 ends, but what happened? Well, Brayden Point gets an early goal off of a rebound from a shot from Nikita Kucherov in the middle of the first period, and Dallas Stars just couldn't recover. They only had 2 shots all second period and a low 22 total shots during the game. And in second period, Tampa Bay Lightning just pretty much finishes the job with Patrick Maroon finding Cedric Paquette, who finds Blake Coleman to put the game up 2-0. And that's how the game went, and that's how Tampa Bay Lightning won. And I don't want to play down this game 6 because Tampa Bay Lightning did an amazing job all postseason long and during the season as well. And Tampa Bay Lightning fans, here is your captain Steven Stamkos lifting the Stanley Cup trophy for you, and I just want you to appreciate this photo. So here you are, Tampa Bay Lightning fans. Here's your captain. And to be honest with you guys, I think this was one of the most difficult Stanley Cup playoffs that we've ever seen, just due to the circumstances. Not only did Tampa Bay Lightning had to do the round robin play, but the teams that weren't top four had to do their own series, and then you had to go through another 4 series to win the Stanley Cup. And this was just all without fans. This was the most neutral setting we could find. And for those of you who disagree with me, Barclay Goodrow, speak for me, please. On Twitter, Barclay Goodrow had this to say: "You try going through what we went through, not seeing our families for months, living in a hotel for 60 plus days. 24 teams had a chance. No home advantage for either team, but hey, say what you want. Say what you want about these teams. They had an unusual circumstance that they had to go through, and like Barclay Goodrow said, there is zero home ice advantage for either team. So this was the most neutral setting that we had to see these teams in, and they all shined. They all did what we thought they were going to do, and that this was exciting postseason. And no matter what you think, if this was difficult or easy, Tampa Bay Lightning, you absolutely deserve this Stanley Cup win. So have fun with your Stanley Cup trophy. Please be smart, and please, people, be safe about it, because that is concerning for your guys' health of what you just did with the Stanley Cup. But please, everyone, stay safe. Please all stay healthy. And I can't wait to see what 2020-2021 season's going to bring. It's going to be an awesome season, I feel like, and I hope that all of us fans can be back in those stadiums. But please, until next time, until next video, please, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy.